Right guys, we're in Edinburgh today for episode 3 from the podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the modern educational system in Scotland. I've no cameraman today, so it's all going to be body cam footage once I put it on. So apologies for the lack of my face in the videos, but hopefully next week we'll have a cameraman back and let's get into it, let's go. Excuse me guys, what's your view on education in Scotland today?
I do work in education in Scotland today. What kind of education? All of it or some
So,
of it?
what do you think's more beneficial?
In terms of?
Do you think it would be more beneficial to teach them about maybe business, money, finances, or the alphabet army?
Well, I think you've got to balance both. I think at a young age they need to learn the basics like alphabets and numbers and what have you. But I think as you get into like...
Do you know what I mean by alphabet army?
Not exactly.
The LGBTQ plus community.
Yes. But I think, again, I'd still give you the same answer. I think that young people in the world today need to know about the world in its totality as best as you can do it. I don't believe in sitting a kid who's like in S2 or 3 down and teaching them algebra. Makes no sense. It doesn't compute. I don't know about you, I learned algebra at school. Never used it again. So maybe you sat a child down and talked to them about like the different perspectives in the world. Or actually, this is what happens when you have to open a bank account. Or you have to apply for a passport. This is how that works. Real practical things. And then teach them about different world views. This is what different people in the world look like. This is what they all think. Doesn't mean you have to agree with any of it. But these people out there, there are 8 billion people out there. So this is what that actually looks like in reality. And I think that way, if you teach that from like S1 onwards, by the time people get to S5, 6, whatever they leave school, doesn't matter, they'll be a little bit more savvy about this is how the world works that I'm walking into. This is what it looks like on, day 1 of a job. This is what it looks like on day 100 of a job. This is what it looks like on day 365 of a job. And all that kind of stuff. Because I think the worst thing we can do with education is sit people, especially from S1 to S4, and feed them a whole load of algebra and literature and
We'll go a bit further back. Do you agree with 6 and 7 year olds being taught about gay and anal sex?
Not particularly sex, but I definitely agree that 6 and 7 year olds should be taught that some men go out there and they dress as women. Because what happens when a 6 and 7 year old is out about it with their mum and dad, and they do see that in the streets, what then?
Should that be then more of the parent's role to explain what and what isn't, or should that be more of the teacher's role?
I think, again, it's a balance. Both people have to take responsibility. You can absolutely say it should just be a parent's role. But what if the parent decides, I don't want you to know any of that? And all you're doing is then making your kid a bit more ignorant and pulling them a bit back, right? But
would that not be a better way to go about it though, that they don't push this ideology on kids, like young kids more so?
I think it's not about pushing the ideology, it's about making it age relevant. It's about saying what you tell a 6-year-old about someone who's transgender and what you tell a 16-year-old are 2 very different things. But that doesn't mean you don't tell the 6-year-old. You have to make these things age relevant. I think a lot of people go, just put the 6-year-old in a box and make them think it doesn't exist, but that's not the truth.
But would that not be the better way for innocence in that age?
But what in this world is innocence? Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, in your private home, you expose your children, like we do, we have kids, we expose them to what we think is appropriate, right? And you do that in your private home. However, my kids go to nursery and go to primary school, and they travel distances to do that. I can't mandate what's up here. I can mandate what's in my own home. I can't mandate what's out here. The other thing I can't really mandate is my kids' curiosity. Children are extremely curious about a variety of things.
100%,
so
yeah.
I need to be able to make a balance somewhere, because I can't control this. I can't control the fact he's curious. So if we're walking through this landscape, which as you can see is extraordinarily varied, and my kid asks me, what's on your t-shirt? Why is that man wearing that thing? I have to be able to kind of give him something.
Of course, but is there not maybe a line in which is, right, you're 6 or you're 7, you're innocent, right? You have, at 6 and 7, would you agree they potentially still believe in Santa Claus?
Of course they do.
Right? So Santa Claus is therefore a fictional being, right? So in order for them to believe, you have to instill, right?
You do.
But
how do you do that?
Do you then instill these ideologies of this man wants to be a woman, this woman wants to be a man, right? at 6-year-old, when they still believe in Santa Claus, right, how are then they able to process that one is want to be one and one is want to be the other? Do you not rather you leave the innocence alone until they get to maybe a specific age, and then if they want to learn, let them learn?
But here's the thing, isn't it? Learning doesn't stop and start.
No,
Learning is
no.
continual. And therefore you have to enable. So with Santa's a perfect example, right? So I've got a 2-year-old who doesn't understand what Santa is. I've got a 5-year-old who has some concept of what Santa is. So from last Christmas onwards, we start to explain this isn't just some guy in a North Pole who comes along and makes it. This is actually the meaning of what this is. And I've done my best actually to go, this is the history of what this is. So you have to understand, as much as there is this lovely ideology that people will push on. Because you know what? There's the other argument that says, why do we tell our kids about Santa? We tell our kids about Santa because in shops it's over-commercialized. It's give. Santa's great because he gives you things, and you lose the meaning of what that actually is. Instead, children buy into the commercialization of want, get. So as with Santa, as with LGBTQ, I think the key is it's not to, because some people will tell you, we don't celebrate Christmas in our house, there is no Santa, there are no gifts. No, because I don't want my kids to become commercialized, right? I don't want my kids to just think that life is just about get, give me, and that's all Christmas is. It's not. There is a whole religious blah, 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 and I'm not saying you push that to your kids either, but there's a whole other meaning there, right? I think with anything when it comes to children, first of all, understand, you're right, kids are young, they won't understand the world. You and I take for granted everything we understand, and I've seen that firsthand with my kids. I think they should understand things they don't understand at all. Understand that. I think, and then from that point go, right, at this age and stage, accurately, what is it that you perceive? What is it that what are you seeing? And then go to them, if they see a guy dressed in a man dressed in a dress and hair and makeup, they're going to look at that, and in a 5-year-old's head, they're going to go, oh, that's a bit weird. In a 2-year-old's head, doesn't matter. Tell them what you want. So then you have to start to go, right, question. So what do you see? I see this. Right. Why do you think that's odd? And start to have a conversation.
See, that would be a better way of teaching rather than forcing it upon them. To just be like, you will learn this, and you have no say.
I think that if you are going to take it into a classroom setting, then you must be extremely careful about how you structure that. You can't just stand up and say, this is this, this is this, this is this, there you go, bye.
Did you see the video of the 2 girls that were dismissed from the class? So these girls in question, I think they were about 13, pupil in the class wanted to identify as a cat. The girl said, no, we do not accept that, right? I'm sorry, but you are not. Well, the teacher went berserk. No, you will. We are an inclusive school and we respect everybody's identity, whatever it be. And the kids point blank refused, no, we don't accept that. And they were ridiculed for that.
They should not have been ridiculed for that. What the teacher should have done in that instance is say, absolutely, you do not agree with it. That's perfectly fine. Guess what? There are 8 billion people out there. A lot of people won't agree with it either. But you know what? We're all going to sit here and we're all going to accept what we accept about ourselves, and we're going to leave each other alone at a distance. I'm not going to kick you out because you don't believe it. I'm not going to kick you out because you want to be a cat. Nah, I'm going to sit you in here and we're going to learn the material in a way that is designed. So this is my problem with that kind of thing, right? One of those groups gets kicked out or excluded. Either the one who wants to be a cat is ridiculed and chucked out, or those 2 who say, oh, that's ridiculous, get chucked out for saying that. It's garbage, right? I think people forgot the thing that at present we have one planet. We all have to sit on one planet. Now, whether you agree with trans and gay or whether you completely are against it, you're not escaping. You are not escaping, unless you got, Jeff Bezos' money to build a rocket and fly off to Mars, you're not escaping. So, what you teach kids in that scenario is absolutely have your opinion. Absolutely, keep your opinion. If anything changes it, so be it. Until then, be kind to each other. Accept what's going on in that sense. You don't have to agree with it. Just say, well, that person over there wants to identify as a cat. All right, then, moving on.
Guys, what do you think of today's education in schools?
Whoa, you know what? No idea.
Do you think it's a better idea to teach them maybe about money, finances, business, or about the alphabet army? Do you agree with maybe 6 and 7 year olds getting taught anal and gay sex?
I don't know.
Or is that a bit extreme?
You know what? That's a hard question when you just woke up. That's the thing.
We just woke up. So.
Yeah, I was not ready to answer some stuff like that, but yeah. Maybe you'll find some other people who give you some good answer.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
that's the aim of the game. But yeah, today's modern education,
Yeah.
good, bad. One word, good, bad.
It could be better.
Could be better.
Yeah, of course.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. What's your view on modern education in Scotland?
Pardon?
What's
I don't
your
think we have
view?
one. I wouldn't know enough to have one. Sorry.
No. Guys, what do you think about the modern education in Scotland?
Pardon?
What do you think about the modern education in Scotland?
I wouldn't have any idea.
No idea.
So, sorry, there's a car coming. I'm trying to get this hit. If you had to choose, right, what you wanted your kids to learn, would you rather they chose business, money, finances, learn how to actually build something, or would you rather they learn about the alphabet army? And do you know what I mean by the alphabet army?
No.
The LGBTQ community. So, I don't know if you're aware of that, but as young as 6 and 7 in primary school are being taught about gay and anal sex. Is that right? Is that wrong? It's 6 and 7. Is that too young? Is that a bit extreme? Or is that allowed?
It's probably a bit young. It's probably a bit young.
Bit young? So, in the general, if you had to choose, what would you rather, obviously? One or the other? Business, money, finances, wealth, or the extreme side?
I don't think it is one or the other though.
You think they should teach both?
It's a very utilitarian point of view, like extremist, like you're trying to say it has to be one way or the other. It can be both, in like a common ground type of way.
But would one take preference over the other? Should one take preference over the other at that age
At that age.
and above? At that age,
I
should
think it's important to have like good social and cultural literacy. So you need to know about the world around you when you're learning about things. Like it's you can't just learn about one thing without learning about your environment. As
do you
well.
think that's the job of the parent or the teacher?
Both.
Both. Fair enough. Thanks. What do you think of modern education in Scotland?
I'm a teacher.
That's funny. You're the second teacher I've had today, actually. That's quite good.
In what context?
Mixed
Just
feelings.
general.
So, for the preference, would you rather kids learn about money, business, finance, or about the alphabet army?
Well, I think it would be more.
And you know what I mean by the alphabet army?
Yeah, but I mean, I think learning more about
Skills.
practical life skills like money and how to
Money
manage
handling.
finances.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to handle
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
how to. It's actually it's a bit of a foreign concept because money isn't actually real.
Yeah. It's like managing your household.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Do you think?
It's hard to explain it to children because they don't handle
Well, at a certain
physical
age.
money anymore.
Certain
And
age.
adults have, you know.
There is
large
that
cap.
side of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get is the perspective from. I had an interesting conversation a couple of weeks ago
Yeah.
about a 7-year-old in primary school being taught about gay and anal sex.
Right.
In my view, 7-year-old, is that a bit?
Well, I don't. Yeah, you. Yeah.
Mm,
You don't
is
need
that-
the detail.
No. Well, from the conversation, there was detail.
Right, okay.
Now, my view is that's too young.
Yeah.
Leave the innocence,
Yeah.
and my opinion is leave it completely alone until such time as the child then asks, not the teacher, in my view, the parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if like yourselves, you are out walking, nice day. Oh, mum, dad,
What's this?
what's
Yeah.
this? Would you agree that that is the parent's decision to teach that and not the educational
I
system?
think a lot of it comes down to parenting, but then there's a lot of children that don't get perhaps parenting that
Yes, to
is
an
appropriate.
exceptional
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
Yes, it's a very broad topic. I'm just trying to get the opinions of different people on.
It's difficult. It's different though. There's a balance, isn't there?
I would say from my school days,
Yeah.
sex education didn't come till later. High school minimum, and then you kind of got into it.
Yeah, you just find that.
I think that they're trying to push an ideology onto the youth that could be very,
Detrimental.
yes, that's the word I was looking for, thank you, very, very detrimental.
I think it depends how it's delivered, doesn't it? And if it's delivered in a really sort of non-specific way, and the teacher doesn't give an opinion, like it sort of.
Were you aware of the children? There was two girls and there was also a boy. We'll use the boy for example. He was completely thrown out of his class because he did not agree with one of his classmates wanting to identify as the other. A 13-year-old boy. He was thrown out of the class, argued with the teacher, and I think he was expelled from the school because the school was an inclusive school. Right? Now I get that, but should somebody be punished for their views and opinions?
No, I suppose it's the way you put them across, isn't it? Your views.
Yeah. Obviously,
difficult on that
just
And then inclusion, it also includes the person who doesn't have that view as well, doesn't it? So it's got to be open-minded for you, I think. Isn't
for me personally, the way I'm looking at it as, if you want to influence the next generation, who do you go after? The next generation. You would go after the kids, because yourselves and me, we're not going to change.
No.
So therefore, how do you change the future generation? You go after.
I suppose the parents will.
The parents should
influence that.
influence that.
Yeah, well, that's how we see it.
Yeah, and you seem like you've got your head screwed on,
it?
which is a
Depends
good
who you're
thing. Which
talking
is
to, doesn't it?
well, me with my podcast, I don't care. I literally say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I don't agree with it in schools. Don't agree with it in primary schools. I even slightly disagree with it in high schools, because they are making a song and dance about a very, very small minority. A very, very small minority. Now, if the majority of straight married couples were to stand up and say, you know what, marriage first, kids, family, how quick would we be shut down?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I know.
You know, which shouldn't be right, shouldn't be fair. But what do you think on the modern education in Scotland today?
We are Swiss.
Swiss? Do you
Oh well, I'm not very glad.
do you
I
know
work for this system.
do you know about the Scottish education system? So modern education in Scotland has vastly changed over the past 5 to 10 years. So they are now teaching primary school, which is between the age of 5 and 11 and 12, depending on when you were born. They are now teaching about 6 and 7-year-olds about gay and anal sex. Is that right?
Is there no subject in school? Is that no subject at school?
It is now. They're making it part of the curriculum, but as 6 and 7-year-old, too young to learn about that. What do you think?
I'm not sure. Today, my son has 9 years, and of course, it's because all the TV and radio talks about it. So you have to.
Would you?
And you have to live it. I think you don't have to learn it. You have to see it.
See it.
Well, they are.
The parents have to make it
it's natural.
a theme. It's natural.
Would you say it's the parents' job or the education's
For me,
job?
it's the parents' job.
Parents and society.
So-
Society to
But the
let it-
teacher, I'm not sure. Maybe to sensitive the kids a little bit, to be open-minded. Maybe for this, yes.
Do you think it should be a main part of the curriculum?
No, not a main part. No.
So they're now making it a main part of the curriculum.
But if a child is interested in it, you have to explain it and the truth and not.
Would you say rather though that is a teacher to parent, that your son or daughter wanted this conversation with me today? I didn't have it, but just making you aware as the parent that they are questioning this?
Well, I'm a speech therapist and I work with children. I often talk to them. They ask me sometimes a question like this, and I talk as a normal subject. So I think if children have this,
Want to
know
know it,
something,
yes.
you have to be open-minded
And any person.
explain. Yeah. That's
Maybe it's
yeah.
with the parents. It's not the same as with a not that close person. Maybe it's easier to talk about some themes.
with that.
Do you think they should maybe learn more about business, money, finances?
No.
No? For what reason?
In Switzerland, we have enough finances
And the
But-
child, the child should be child.
But
they have to work
Yeah.
early enough.
I mean, but would you say society today is getting lazier? Our attention span, it's maybe different for you guys, but here, people's attention spans don't exist. You'll see people on their phone,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The attention span is gone, right?
It's gone. That's right.
So, would it not be more beneficial to teach them a skill that somebody values in life?
Yeah.
If you've got a skill, somebody will pay you
Yes.
for that skill.
And maybe for the skill you are happy.
And you are happy,
Yeah.
rather than forcing a minority ideology onto kids, because it might be different in Switzerland, but in Scotland, this ideology is being forced on them. Yes.
I thought that you are very open-minded and relaxed.
No. We are very, in the educational system, it is now part, if you go onto gov.uk, you will see that it's now a main part of the curriculum to teach about those sort of things. Not, you have the right to remove your child from these classes, but I would feel that that's more detrimental to the child, because that child is then going to question, why am I being taken away?
Yes, that's
You know?
true. Yeah, this is wrong.
So you can look at it from, all my friends are in this class, why am I not in this
me
class?
not, yeah.
So that to me would seem more detrimental to the child
That's true.
than just not teaching it at all. Leave the kids alone. Like, leave them alone. That's my view. I don't know about you. Like, just leave. They don't need to know about these
About
things.
what themes?
About gay and anal sex. And men wanting to become women and women wanting to become men.
It
And
should not be a main part
It
of no, not at all. It should not be a main part. But if the child wants to know, the parents has to answer. That's it.
I thank you. Right, guys, that is the end of episode 3 of the podcast. That was Edinburgh's view on modern day education. Next week's episode probably going to be a Rumble exclusive, because we can't talk about what we're going to talk about on YouTube, because, well, I'll probably get banned. So subscribe to the Rumble, subscribe to my YouTube, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.